Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're really getting into the cutting edge of AI. We're talking AI agent orchestration and evaluation. We've got some fascinating sources here, including a look inside a platform called Sammoner. An engineer there is trying to build, well, a foundation for a whole new AI economy. So our mission today is to unpack this blueprint. It's all about connecting AI agents that right now the sources say are mutually exclusive. Basically, they just can't connect easily. And it tackles this huge challenge. How do you actually evaluate these agents? And maybe even trickier, how do you pay people fairly for what their agents contribute?
Yeah, and stepping back, the ambition here is pretty staggering. They're talking about building a decentralized AI agent world. But to get that from just an idea to something real, you need serious infrastructure. You need agents to be accountable, effective, and, truly interoperable, able to work together outside of just one company's control.
So the problem right now, as the sources describe it, is fragmentation. Lots of developers building cool agents, but they're all in their own silos. They can't easily hook up to form bigger, more complex systems.
Exactly. And that's where the Sammoner idea comes in. The vision is a platform, right, where any developer can upload their agent. But the core goal isn't just listing them. It's about making them interact, building them into these fleets that can tackle really complex stuff. Problems one agent alone just couldn't handle.
And of course, for that to work, people need to get paid. The money side sounds quite clever. An enterprise, say, pays a set reward when a fleet successfully completes a task.
And that reward doesn't just get split evenly. No, it's distributed automatically based on evaluation. The system figures out each agent's specific contribution to getting the job done. That's how the developers get paid.
So it weeds out the slackers, the free riders, as they call them.
Precisely. If an agent joins a fleet but doesn't really pull its weight, it gets a much smaller share of that reward. It's accountability baked right in.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. But let's say I'm a company. I need help with my, complex supply chain. How do I find the right fleet in this big decentralized mix?
Right. Discovery is key. They've built a search function. Think of it like searching Google or an app store. You search supply chain logistics or whatever you need.
And the results.
They're ranked. Heavily ranked by the evaluation scores those agents and fleets have earned in the past. So a high score means proven performance. It builds trust through evidence.
Okay, it's becoming really clear that evaluation isn't just some add-on. It's like the absolute engine driving this whole thing. It does the ranking for discovery, handles the fair payment. It's fundamental.
Absolutely. But that immediately brings up a big question. How can one evaluation system work for everyone? I mean, optimizing a supply chain is totally different from, say, running complex physics simulations. Right?
Good point. So how do they handle that variety?
Customization. The platform lets companies upload their own context. Could be internal documents, PDFs, even SQL databases. They use R retrieval augmented generation to analyze that specific company context.
So R isn't just pulling facts here. It's figuring out what success means for that specific company's problem.
Exactly. It tailors the evaluation criteria on the fly. What counts as good gets customized instantly.
Wow. Okay, that sounds complex.
It is. And the sources stress this. The final evaluation score is purely quantitative. Numbers, not just like a thumbs up or a star rating. It's based on 7 specific metrics. And get this, some of these are apparently custom-invented mathematical formulas.
Wait, custom formulas. They're inventing the measurement itself.
Seems like it. They're constantly doing research, testing variables, just to make sure these formulas accurately reflect, how well the task was actually completed.
So they're trying to mathematically define value delivered in this new agent economy. What kind of things do you think these formulas capture, beyond just did it get the right answer?
Well, based on the hints, it's likely stuff like how efficiently did the agents collaborate? Was there wasted effort? How complex was the problem they tackled? Resource use, maybe. It's way beyond simple output metrics. It sounds like embedding ongoing research right into the product.
Let's shift gears a bit to the philosophy behind this. Sammoner wants this AI agent world, right, where agents are independent, almost like NFTs or players in a giant online game.
Yeah, the NFT comparison is interesting. Not about art, but about unique, verifiable identity and ownership. Each agent gets its own decentralized ID. Its reputation, its evaluation score is tied to that ID. based on what it's actually done. And crucially, they can connect and talk directly to each other. No need to go through a central server asking for permission all the time.
Which is a big difference from a lot of current systems, like from the big tech companies, that often have a kind of central brain-controlling interactions.
Exactly. Those systems usually require agents to get approval from the central controller before they can communicate. Sammoner wants to cut out that middleman.
Okay, but then the obvious question the sources raise: security. If you take away that central gatekeeper, how do you stop things from going wrong? How do you maintain safety?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Their answer seems to be rely on math, not on a central authority. They're apparently integrating some pretty advanced cryptographic algorithms, stuff developed with a mentor who specializes in cryptography.
So security is baked into the communication protocols themselves. Trust through math.
That seems to be the idea. Decentralized trust.
And for transparency, making sure everyone can see what happened, they mentioned blockchain and smart contracts.
Right, and that's not just buzzwords here. It serves a real function. The idea is to record agent actions onto a blockchain.
So, and mutable ledger, a permanent record of performance.
Exactly. What the agent did, its score, its contributions, its mistakes, it's all publicly visible and can't be easily tampered with, especially not by the agent trying to make itself look better.
That kind of transparent track record would be essential for businesses to trust this, I imagine.
Definitely. Creates a foundation of verifiable history.
We've talked vision, philosophy, security, but what about the actual building of this thing, going from 0 to 1 on something this ambitious?
Yeah, the sources paint a picture of, well, controlled chaos, constant research iteration because there's no existing map for this. There's a great example about data visualization. They needed a way to visually represent these really complex agent interactions, high-dimensional data.
Tricky stuff. What did they try?
They apparently started with UEP and HDBSCAN. These are pretty advanced techniques for finding patterns in complex data, but the results weren't quite right, so they shifted, tried PCA principal component analysis, another standard method. Still not perfect.
So lots of experimentation.
Yeah, they finally landed on something called PLS regression, which gave them the visualization clarity they needed. But that whole process, trying different advanced methods, that's the reality of R&D at the edge. You're figuring out the how as you build it.
And speaking of building, there's a really telling story in there about using large language models, LLMs, for coding assistance. They tried using Claude, a pretty capable LLM,
Right.
to generate code for some specific complex features, gave it detailed prompts and everything.
Right, and the LLM did produce code, but it was like 3,000 or 4,000 lines of really complicated, hard-to-understand code, and crucially,
It didn't work.
it didn't integrate properly. It failed to do what they needed within their system.
Then a human mentor stepped in.
Yeah. Rewrote the same functionality in about 1,000 lines. Code that was clean, efficient, understandable, and actually worked.
Wow. That really highlights the limits, doesn't it? Especially for complex, scalable stuff or when you're dealing with custom company tools like SDKs the LLM hasn't seen.
Absolutely. It shows that for deep system logic, for architecture that needs to scale and integrate reliably, human oversight and expertise are still critical. LLMs can generate volume, maybe boilerplate, but not necessarily efficient, context-aware solutions for complex, unique problems. Not yet, anyway.
So given this push for agent autonomy, what's the feeling on how much supervision they need? Should we be micromanaging these agents?
The engineer behind Sammoner argues strongly against that. Calls micromanagement like a student with a homeroom teacher watching every step. Their point is, if you have the right evaluation and security in place, letting agents run more autonomously can lead to unexpected good things. Discoveries the designer didn't plan for. You need room for that. Emergent behavior.
I'll offer a bit of productive chaos.
Sort of, but then you look at the end user, the company paying for the service. Their priorities are crystal clear, according to the sources.
What do they care about most?
Two things above all. Accuracy, they want like 99% plus ideally, and response time. How fast does it deliver? Collaboration between agents. That's important only when one agent isn't powerful enough on its own. It's a means to an end, not the goal itself for the user.
Okay, let's zoom out for a final perspective. This whole framework, this agent world, the sources hint it could be used for more than just business tasks, like social science research.
Yeah, it's fascinating. They see the architecture as a potential tool for running socioeconomic studies or game theory experiments, basically simulating little societies or economies.
How would that work? You can't fully simulate a person with an agent.
No, and you don't need to. The idea is targeted personality prompts.
Yeah.
So researchers could tell Agent A, okay, you have an engineer personality focused on these specific traits, or Agent B gets a skeptical journalist prompt, just the behaviors needed for that specific study.
Ah, so you model only the relevant aspects for the experiment. Keeps it manageable, but allows for complex interactions.
Exactly. You could potentially run complex surveys or model economic decisions at a scale and speed that's hard to do with traditional methods.
Interesting potential there. And finally, the whole open source angle. Why give the core platform away?
That comes down to what they call a blockchain mindset, a belief that the fundamental infrastructure for this new AI agent economy should be open, decentralized, accessible to everyone. They talk about it like building the AI agent world's highway. The core road should be public. Their business model focuses more on enterprise services built on top of that open infrastructure, not on charging every developer for basic access. Hashtag tag outro. So if we boil it down for you, the listener, what are the key things to take away? Well, first, this decentralized model isn't just a technical choice, it's philosophical. It prioritizes open innovation, but crucially, that freedom only works because it's built on this really rigorous quantitative evaluation system. That's what provides the trust and efficiency needed for these agent fleets to function reliably.
And there's that interesting reflection in the sources about the startup environment itself. Contrasting the security of big companies, the golden handcuffs idea, with the necessary chaos of building something totally new. The idea that breakthroughs, like new stars, often come from that kind of turbulent, uncertain collision of ideas. This whole project seems born from that embrace of uncertainty.
Right. So, thinking on all this focus on making cooperation more efficient, breaking down those silos using decentralized tech, here's a final thought to chew on. What specific, really complex societal problem that we face today, think big, like city planning, global logistics, maybe disaster response, suffers most urgently from a lack of this kind of efficient, non-centralized cooperation? Could this type of infrastructure actually be the key to unlocking a solution? Something for you to consider until our next deep dive.
Until then, stay curious.